some idea. That's the first thought. That's never, ever. Let her rip, man.
Oh, no. I'm way too refined, Edwin. Way too refined.
To our earlier position, and that is my question: what are we building? What are we building, or who is building, and what are they building, and what is really the appetite? We brought in tens of thousands of skilled labour from other regions of the world, and look, the silent tigers, they're great at a lot of things, but construction is not really their forte. Well, the ones that have landed here, they all went to Dubai, UAE, the good ones, because they built UAE in the majority. But for now, we got we didn't get them. We got other people that didn't even want to go into the construction workforce. Which again, you and I broke that because of what the WeChat chatters were telling us. And it wasn't until months later that then the figures and the stats showed that something like 3-point-something% of the hundreds of thousands of so-called skilled labour force that got brought in to work in the construction, were ended up in the construction, and the rest went off and became it's easier to become an Uber driver, and a lot less hassles, because we said, and the WeChat chatters were saying back then, they're not used to working. Not when you come from a culture or a hierarchical culture. Not when you come from to get your hands dirty in a lot of cultures. I mean, you're a second class citizen, and unfortunately, that's what you've got. And people don't understand it. Politicians that talk about multiculturalism, politicians that talk about all these, that put up all these fanciful words and start bringing mass immigration, but really don't understand. They think they're bringing them in for one purpose, but they end up doing something else. But because why? I mean, these are people that are running the country, but yet don't understand our cultural differences, and don't understand the cultures and what people really gravitate to. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to work in the construction industry, especially if you've got a few brain cells floating around in your head and you can do IT. Well, then, good luck to you. But one thing for sure is we are seeing another shift, of wealth distribution from your white collar workers to your blue collar workers to your and it's reshaping. It's going to reshape markets moving forward. It's going to reshape those the haves and the have-nots. In the past, it's been the white collar workers, the investors, the that's, the office workers, the sophisticated investors, this and that end up with that have basically held the wealth. But there's going to be a great shift in wealth moving forward, and not only because of what's happening currently with the situation that we're in, but also technology and AI. So look, interesting times. But again, we go back to the initial premise of the show, and that is, sit back, take a chill pill, let the noise go past, and try to operate in serenity, and try to operate in reason and logic, as opposed to getting involved and caught up in the emotion. Because now is not the time to be emotional.
Absolutely. And, interesting observation that you've made there is that if there are actually construction workers in the Middle East who are now actually under fire, as it were, well, maybe that'll be a bit of incentive to think, well, maybe I'll take my skills back to Australia and to help build in Australia one way. Or it might be that, let's assume that things play out in the Middle East and ultimately there is some sort of peace. There's a huge reconstruction effort required across the Middle East, which might actually pull more construction workers the other way. So it could go, I don't know which way it's going to go. So it just shows you that actually construction workers, good construction workers, are a commodity in demand, and they'll be commanding even higher salaries and higher bonuses to be able to actually get any construction done, which means it's going to put more upward pressure on building and construction, whichever way you look at it. Now,
which puts upward pressure on established properties, yes. Established homes. Yeah. In desirable areas, in lifestyle areas, in desirable areas, in areas where people want to live. Not in the outskirts of Whoop Whoop, where it's flood prone. It's the dog boxes. They all look the same. They've got the same roofs. And now they're going to have a lot of noise pollution going over them. And everybody got so excited about being living next door to the new international airport. And guess what? Now that the actual flight plans are being set in concrete, they're going, oh shit, Now, this is why you can't afford to make emotional decisions. Before, you could say, decades ago, you could say, I screwed up with this one, and and if you held it long enough, your $250,000 purchase eventually turned into $500,000 a property anyway. But now you're starting out at your 1.2s, 1.3, 1.5 at entry level properties for first home buyers. And it's a different ball game, and this is where you got to throw a lot of caution to the wind before you jump in. But as I said earlier on, we've certainly taken advantage. I'll share a little bit more about that once the property settles, and just to because the smart players will know how to navigate through these uncertainties and take advantage of all this top layer information and headlines that are floating around, creating people to panic. And that's what happened in our case. And all the ducks aligned. And, like we said earlier on, we got to eat the Peking duck.